Welcome to the Data Podcast, and here we are, episode 1. Bit of a milestone episode in that this is the first one for the Data Talk. And what we want to discuss in today's session is really from that beginning, those few moments where, I don't know, I guess you could be anywhere. You could be sitting down on the couch watching TV. You could be out for dinner. And that question comes up. When do you want to start trying? Now, how do you unpack this, right? Let's sort of start to peel that back, because when you think about it, us males, at that time, we could probably be thinking about a million other things. What's on for the weekend with the boys? Checking the latest scores on football or something unrelated to that question. Whereas for the females, on the other hand, that's probably a whole different ball game. Part of the pun, but it's something that probably has been on their mind for quite a while. And, it's not to say that there hasn't probably been conversations of, wanting to have kids, that sort of tends to happen in any relationship, discussions of, maybe wanting to have kids, maybe not wanting to have kids, having 2, 3, 4 kids. But really that question, when do you want to start trying? And if I think about my story, and really only a few months in to being married, and we sort of said, look, it would be a good time. But even though, as a male myself, being mentally prepared for wanting to become a father at that time, you don't know what that even means. And let alone sitting there and discussing and understanding what it actually really entails to answer that question. And do you say yes? Do you brave yourself and say no and go, or do you just, how do you do that? How do you actually work around that and navigate yourself around that question? So that's what we're going to be discussing today, and I'm really looking forward to it and sharing my experience. So, like I said, it was a couple of weeks after our actual wedding, and my wife said, should we start trying now? When do we start? And there was absolutely not 1 second of hesitation in my response, which was, yeah, let's do it, 100%. That's what we want, right? We want to be parents at one stage. We do want to have kids, and like I said, it's been part and parcel of the relationship, that conversation of wanting to be parents. But after that comes thoughts, emotions, and a whole other journey that you could never even script. And there's a myriad of things that then come up after that. Is okay, well, we start taking some multivitamins, we need to look after our body, we need to cleanse, we need to do this, we need to do that to really prime ourselves so we can fall pregnant. And it's like, well, hold on a second, you just asked me, do you want to start trying? But like I said, the female brain and the female mind, they were probably pondering on this question, and I wouldn't be surprised if my wife was pondering on this, for months or weeks prior. And I guess, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, our wives, our partners, and females, they dream of these things from a young age. Just like getting married. For me, it was like, yeah, sweet, cool. We're in the middle of almost the whole pandemic, and I'm like, yeah, no problems. We just need a priest, you and I, and we're sweet, no problems, all good. But It's the dress, it's the people to invite, it's the celebration, it's the memories, it's the photos, it's the music. What do we walk into? And it's no different with this question. So I guess you just roll with it. And like I said, I think at the end of the day, as long as that communication, which for us was very clear, and that this is actually what we wanted. When I think back to that question and I peel it back, I was excited. I was pumped. I was like, this is mad. This is so cool. Did I know what was going to happen? Absolutely not. Did I really care at that time? No, not really. No, not at all. I think I was just like, you know what? Let's do this. We're ready. And I think for us males, when that moment comes, or that question's asked, that deep conversation commences, we know when we're ready, right? And I think, it's pretty common that the females are a lot more ready in that state than us males. And I was in my mid-30s, and it was just the right time. It was just the right time, and so there we commenced our journey. And like I said, those emotions were amazing. It was really, really exciting. But I won't lie, it's an overload of information. Like I said, next minute we're online looking at sort of multivitamins and what medicate or sort of tablets to take and all that kind of jazz. Looking and thinking about discussing to cut out a bit of alcohol, caffeine, junk food and all of that. And so I guess to make some of those, for some people, maybe sacrifices, for myself not really sacrifice, but just to make those decisions, you have to be in that state of readiness. And the next morning woke up and was like, all right, it's on. Like this is happening. This is gonna play out, and we're gonna give it a shot. Now that's a whole nother level, and that's a whole different topic for another episode. But I think it's quite key to pause and think. And like I said, it's a loaded question. It's a big question, and I think that we really as males need to be comfortable in expressing some of our emotions and feelings. And there's definitely moments where I would say that it's nervous. What do we do next? Like how do we even go about this? And obviously, yes, there's a whole sort of thing around what the menstrual cycle's like, and ovulation, and having all these apps at your fingertips and information. And like I said, it is information overload, but it was just a very, very serene sort of feeling those next couple of days after, because it was just an opportunity for my wife and I to get closer, to bond, and we'd just survived the pandemic, which it's sad to hear of a lot of relationships or families really struggling and not really coming out of the end of that pandemic like they entered it. But nonetheless, it was a great bonding experience for us to now kick this off and really try to embark on what would be to become parents. I do want to just pause, because I think it's like I mentioned, it is a bit of a loaded question, but I do want to pause and just think, how did you feel? Was it as simple as that, or was it more than that? And the reason why I do want to do that is because this is a channel or a podcast, an opportunity for us to really open and I guess for me, be vulnerable and express feelings, and we don't do that very well. And there's a lot of times where we probably haven't done that when we needed to. But I think being in that situation, in that moment, when it happens and it starts to play on your mind and you think, you know what, yep, this is it. We are ready, or we're not. And so, really take a moment and just really think about it. And for those that may be listening that are yet to be asked that question, this would be a great opportunity. If I look back on it, I think if I wasn't in a comfortable state within the relationship or within my own feelings and emotions about becoming a parent, then it would have been challenging. How do you respond to that? Because maybe your mind's just busy on sports and you're like, babe, darling, I don't know, can't we talk about this tomorrow? I don't know, that might be some people's response, but definitely thinking back at it, it was an amazing moment. And actually, as I record this, our little daughter's now today turned 18 months, and wow, what a journey it has been. So yeah, this episode just wanted to kick off the podcast with the real the initial stages, that commencement, and it's that big question: when do you want to start trying? Now, with that being said, and a little bit of sharing of my story, I do just want to let you all know that these will be fairly short, sharp at times sessions. I do appreciate people's time, and those that will listen or are curious to listen, a huge thank you to you all. Really what I want to do is share the experience that I have had, but also want to bring on a couple of other guests onto the show. So in the next episode, we will look to uncover a couple of other stages around not only the question, like I've just touched on, but the next steps. Like I said, is it every around every ovulation? How did that get tracked? How did you feel about that? I know for some dads that I talk to, it almost feels like a bit of a job. It feels like a task, and that sexuality and that feeling and that bonding is almost sort of gone away a little bit, and it just really becomes like, oh great, we're gonna go again. And that can be difficult. That was definitely challenging. So that will be on our next episode. So really thank you all, and really look forward to catching you all on episode 2.